Anya, how you doing? Andy, good afternoon, good evening to you in Germany. Anya, what do you mean? Anya says I might actually learn how to use Weeble if I watch you use it. Anya, we've been using Weeble for the live streams anyways for a while. What is it that I can teach you? Let me know. I forgot to run the intro before this live stream. Just a reminder, this channel is not providing you any financial advice. We're here discussing opinions, providing some entertainment, talking about the market. Always do your own due diligence. Don't get your frickin' financial advice from YouTube, Reddit, or Twitter. Do your own work. But if there's something I can help you understand, balance sheets, companies, economics, I'm happy to do my best to help you move you along your own journey. Kelly Boy, what's going on? Tony S., good afternoon. I was looking just now at CNBC. I haven't done any real trading today because I had a video that I've been working on for my other channel that I had to finish up, and I got that one out. It's linked on my Twitter and my community tab for this channel, so go check that out. Finally got that one done, and I've got a lot of outdoor projects that I'm working on this week. It's just been a mess here the past couple of weeks for outdoor projects. It's been cold, but even worse, raining like every other day. And then I'm filming outside, and two of my neighbors behind me, both were getting new roofs, one a metal roof and one a shingle roof. So it was too noisy to be filming outside. But finally they're done, and I was able to get that finished and do the voiceover on it. And there'll be more videos coming. I've just been letting that other channel languish for the past couple years because I've been working on this. I mean, and there's just so much on that we've had to cover in the stock market for the past couple of years. That gardening channel, I mainly started it back in 2020 when we were all stuck at home. We had nowhere to go, nothing to do. I was like, well, if we're all going to die, I may as well like be self-sufficient, have a garden, have some chickens, guns and ammo. You know, we can survive, but we got to be prepared. So funny story with that other channel. As I've been neglecting it, some of the videos on that channel have been approaching 1 million views, and I haven't even been paying attention to it for 2 years. So I'm going to do my best to start doing regular updates on that channel as we do the gardening projects and get everything fixed up that broke over the winter. So if you're into gardening, that's one of my other hobbies. So feel free to check those videos out and give me a sub over on that channel. I'd appreciate it. Chilling and relaxing, Kelly Boy. Andy, where are you at in Germany again? Kelly Boy says, don't pay someone to cut your lawn. Just get chickens or goats, Kelly Boy. I don't have goats. I'm in a neighborhood, so we can't actually have them. Although some of the larger lots in my neighborhood do have, at least one guy has a donkey. There's a riding stable in my neighborhood, an actual, working place where you can board your horses, and every now and then I'll see someone riding a horse through the neighborhood. But in my section, I'm probably not even supposed to have chickens, but my neighbors are pretty cool. I think you can have them if they're not within 25 feet of a neighbor's house. So I'm kind of bending the rules, But, if your neighbors get mad, just go give them some free eggs. Heidelberg, Germany, 1 hour from Frankfurt. Okay. I've been to Frankfurt. I've been to Hamburg, and I've been to Stuttgart and Munich. That's about the extent of my German travels. Although I would like to get to Berlin one day. Get a rooster. Yeah, Funny story, Tony S. All of the chickens that we've had, we raised from like day-old chicks. You know, there's poultry farms outside of Austin where they raise chicks and they mail them all over the country, and you can get just about any breed that you want. So we'll order or go pick up. I think we've done it twice. Batches of chicks, like 6 or 8. Sometimes I'll get 10, because often, depending on the breed, you don't know if it's a male or female. And I only want female egg-laying hens. And I don't want roosters because of the neighbors. The roosters are damn loud. And a lot of times you don't know until the chick grows up a couple months if it's going to be a male or female. Some of the breeds you can sex them right when they're born, but some of them you just don't know. So we have had roosters. We have. And yeah, once they start crowing, and I mean, you can tell it's a boy usually a week or two before they start crowing. Once they start crowing, you got to get rid of it. So we'll sell them. We'll sell them to people outside the city. It's never a problem around here selling chickens or selling eggs. And I usually get a couple extra chicks because in case one doesn't survive. I don't think we've ever had one not survive, although we did have one disappear. And I think a cat or a dog got to it, would be my guess. But if they're extra, if they're extra hens, we'll just sell them for like $20. 20, 25. It's a interesting experience to raise chicks. But all the ones that I have now, all the hens I have now are like 3 years old. We haven't raised any chicks in a while. And I guess they got a few years of egg laying in them still before they stop. All right, AMC 456 up 4%, Palantir's up 2.5%, GameStop's up 1%. I see that the Dow is the only green index. It's up 100 points. The SPY is slightly in the red, as is the NASDAQ. Well, I guess the Russell 2000's up also. And then I was reading this article about ARM. What a day it's had. ARM Holdings up 27%. Just a week ago, you could have bought this damn thing at $70. It hit 164 today. An AI play. So it's not one that I've looked into a lot, but I guess I'm going to have to. We were talking about that this morning, creating a watch list of AI plays. Andy says, in Berlin, I was in the year 2000 millennium, 1.5 million people party. Golly, that would be amazing. The trips I was in Germany for were mostly work trips, although Munich was a little bit of food and a beer trip. I guess I'm getting a little old now, Andy, but I heard that you guys have some pretty good nightlife and clubs over there in Germany too. My days of doing that may be behind me already. Oh yeah, he says that, and the viewer says that in the comments. The clubs, the beer, and the art. I had a dream also. I've owned 2 Mercedes and 1 BMW, and I was thinking it would be fun. Although I don't plan on getting another one at this point. I was thinking back in that day when I was into those cars that it might be fun to order a a Porsche or a Mercedes in Germany and drive it around in Europe before putting it on a boat and having it shipped back here. But I think my next vehicle is just going to be a pickup truck. So that those days may be behind me too. We'll see. Jim says something made the algos dump after lunch. Yeah, I saw that on the SPY over here in the bottom right. 115 rug pull. And I was looking to see if there was any news, and I haven't come across anything yet. What's up with New York Community Bank Corp? Ah, frickin' CNBC. No, I don't want a pro account. $30 off a low of 18. I'm not in any banking plays at the moment. Although 18 to 30 would have been nice. Palantir's climbing now back above 25. And it looks like AMC is probably going to settle in somewhere around 450, 460 for the day. GameStop's been trailing off all day after hitting that nice intraday high of 15. Well, we had 1520 and then 1515. Looks like it's wants to close somewhere between here and, oh, we're already at 1482. Is that, well, shoot. I was going to say it looks like we're going to try and close somewhere around 1470. We're already at 1482. That's quite a sell-off on that too. The viewer says, I hitched a ride with a lawyer chick in a Porsche. Yeah, I bet that's a story to tell. You'll have to let us know in the Discord one day. Anya says she had fun times. You went to Munich, Anya? I don't know what the ISAR gate is. Or if that's even how you pronounce it. ISAR gate. I don't remember seeing that. We went to the castle outside of Munich that the Disney castle is styled off of. For some reason, that whole trip is a bit of a blur. I think I was in Munich about 2 or 3 days. We were in Stuttgart for a week. We went to Munich. We took a train ride to Munich for a night or two, just for a weekend. And then I think from there we took a train to Bratislava, where we stayed for another week. Which was like going back to old day. I felt like I was going back to Bratislava, going back to old day Germany or old day Russia, with the cable cars in the streets and the old timey buildings. It's a pretty neat little country. There's an article here talking about the Super Bowl ads recap. Did any of you guys have a favorite commercial out of that Super Bowl? I just thought a lot of them were really, really weak. It felt like this was not the most creative year for Super Bowl ads. Bitcoin, it says, is up over 50,000 now. 49,900. Beautiful. Nice little run. Matt is asking about short interest. Yeah, Matt, I haven't checked it today. I did check it Friday, and it was going up. And I tweeted out about that on Friday because I'm seeing a lot of messaging about short interest. So let's talk about that for a second, just so you can hear my thoughts. We are at 12.32% estimated on the live short interest. On this screen, it says 12.47. So, I mean, whether you want to call it 12.3, 12.4, it's most definitely going up. But what I see people posting about that I kind of have an issue with is they're not telling you 12%. Hey, it's gone up from 7, 8%, 6, 7, 8, wherever we were, to now over 12. It's definitely going up. And that is more exciting for me, as we talked about on a recent live stream, because if I expect the short interest to keep going up, right? It's not going to stop because of expected cash burn in Q4, expected cash burn in Q1, uncertainty over if the debt is going to be restructured. It will be, I think, but right now there's no definitive answer. So the shorts are capitalizing on that. And just the weaker box office. They're not scared right now. So I think we see the short interest keep on increasing. And I'm good with that. And I'll tell you why. Because if AMC has some good news announcement, or if a movie outperforms, then all of a sudden you have a bigger rush for the doors. I don't get as excited when short interest is 6 or 7%. I'd really prefer to see it at 20. And you guys already know that. But what I see on social media is people saying the number of shares short, 30 million, is the highest ever. If you take away the reverse split, that's 300 million shares. That's more than have ever been shorted. I don't care about that. I don't care about the number. I think it's a little bit of shell game they're playing with us on social media by highlighting that and not talking about the percentage. Because for me, the only thing that matters is what percentage of the float is shorted. You don't hear anyone on Wall Street talking about the short interest is 30 million shares. What percentage of the float is shorted? And people don't want to talk about the percentage being low, whether it's 7, 8, 10, 12. For me, it's still low. So they divert the message to the number of shares and then convert it to pre-split. And I don't think that's being genuine with you. So I'm not a big fan of people doing that. I wish they wouldn't. Let's, if you want to say something, the short interest percentage is growing as a percentage of the float. And if you were to get in a place where you could have some good news run up, that's good. It's good. I'd like to see it a little bit higher. And as I was talking with some other people on Twitter that kind of share my viewpoint, I think we agree. Like the people shorting it at this price, they obviously this endless discussion, right? Why haven't the shorts covered, or why are they still shorting? And I was thinking about that a lot this weekend. There's obviously been some that have covered, and there's new shorts coming in. But I was thinking, why are they shorting at $4? Why are they shorting at $4.50? And the only logical answer that I can think of is what I see from the bears that I interact with and talk to see how they're feeling about the play. There are people that are absolutely convinced that this company's going bankrupt. And I guess if you're convinced of that, you're willing to take the risk to short it at 450. The cost to borrow is really low. The cost to borrow is almost nothing, 1%. It's a easy borrow. There's plenty of shares, low cost to borrow, and so it's an easy bet for them if they're very bearish on the company. That 450 to 0, that's a pretty good return, and they don't have to pay a lot to hold that. But if there's good news, it's going to be a mad rush for the door, especially if you're a smaller retail short. Depending on the size of any run up, if there were one, those smaller guys are going to be the first to get out. And then the bigger institutional ones that have higher collateral, they might weather the storm, depending on what the price increase is. That's how I'm kind of viewing it. The ex-div for NYCB is tomorrow. Thank you, Jim. Did I see the BMR squeeze today? I have BMR on my pre-market watch list here. We were talking about it this morning. And I don't know. It's up here in the top left. Yeah, that is phenomenal. $2 to $34. And was that a short squeeze? I don't know, but let's check something here. The short interest on that play somewhere around 5%, not super high, but there's almost no shares left to borrow. Now the cost to borrow is high. And what is the float on this stock? $3.4 million. So yeah, there was. It's easy to FOMO push these up on a low float like that. And if anybody's dumb enough to try and short it on the way up, they got wrecked today. I don't know that I'd call that a short squeeze with 5%, but if there were shorts trying to come in on a dip and short it thinking it's going to go back down, they got wrecked a couple times. But that's what can happen on these low float plays. Even if it's not a short squeeze, you can have an easy FOMO run up. And then the algos get in and the high speed traders, and you can see these things take off like that really, really quick. The viewer says they've been talking about bankruptcy for the last 4 years. Yeah, on AMC. Yeah. I just don't see it, the viewer. I talk to people that are absolutely convinced, and I don't know I don't know if they're really convinced or if they're just putting on a good act because they want to scare people out of the play. That's the big debate right now, right? Is the company at risk of bankruptcy? And we talked about that on the last 2 Twitter space calls. If you're a bear, you think that in the next year or 2, the company's going bankrupt because box office is not going to recover. That's the only bear argument you could make to me that would even have a chance of me saying, okay, maybe, but we don't know. And then the bull argument is box office is going to grow and the company's going to become profitable in the next year or 2, and they're going to refinance the debt. Bears are going to say box office is never going to get back over 10 billion, and they're going to have a problem refinancing the debt. Everybody's just guessing based on their bias, and we'll all find out together. But based on what the analysts are telling us in the industry, next year looks to be a banger. And the AMC's got a billion or so cash on the balance sheet. For me, there's no risk of bankruptcy. I just want to see the debt covenants extended in the next couple of weeks, and I want to see before the end of this year the debt, whatever 2026 debt that they have coming due. I want to see that pushed out. All right, let's look at FLWS, because I see Michael's asking me about that one. Oh, 1-800-Flowers. What's he saying? Flows made 127 over 10 days, but lower outlook with February 14th. Oh yeah, I haven't looked at them, but that's an interesting idea. Do they get a push up on the quarter when Valentine's happens? Maybe something I should be thinking about for next year. There's so many things you can think about, like what's going to send this stock up over the next couple months. These cyclical type stocks. Let's zoom out. In 2022, they had a low in October, ran up all the way through April. 2023, around the same time, November, October, a low and then a run up. Wow. They were out of control in 2021. Same thing, a low here in around November was the low, but it started in September and then a run up through June, peaked in February 1st. That might be a good one to kind of set a reminder for myself in the fall of this year. Same thing in 2018. Low in the fall, peaked in April. All right, you guys remind me if I'm still alive in the fall to check out where Flowers is at. How many halts did BMR have? I don't know. I have a halt robot in my Discord. Let me see. Let me see if there were any. I see Telomere Pharma had a halt. We're going to look at TLO in a second because I might do a video on that one. TLO, I'm not seeing any halts for BMR. I'm almost scrolled through all of them that have been logged till market open. I don't see it. Looks like RNL. Oh, here's one. Okay. And RNLX had a bunch of halts. There was one at 10:48 a.m. Trading resumed. Halt started at 10:48. There was one at 10:38. And there was one at 9:22. So, I mean, it looks like all of them happened early in the morning. Let's look at RNLX, see what happened there. Yeah, another big squeeze. Was that on my daily runners? That was not anything that I was looking at in pre-market. The only one that really performed The one that performed the best today was BMWR. MGIH did okay. These other two just went flat and down. RNLX up 238%. And I wanted to look at Tello Pharma, an IPO from Friday. What happened to it today? Wow. All right. So it's actually back up. Oh, man. So here's the deal on this stock. And I commented to some people Friday and over the weekend when I was seeing this. There's these damn, what I call penny stock pumpers on Twitter, including our friend Ham Short Killer and William Ferrand and many others that were pushing this IPO of Tello, T-E-L-O, because it had a 1 million float. And then Ham comes out with this story that when the market opened, one guy bought the entire float. And he didn't understand how it could fall from $7 to $4. And so I said, okay, where's the evidence of that other than trust me, bro? And I didn't find any other than him saying it in a call that one guy bought the entire float of 1 million. So, okay, maybe he's correct. Let's just give him the benefit of the doubt for a second. Is the float really 1 million shares? Where do we go to get answers? We go to the filings, something you've heard us talk about a lot on this channel. Don't believe what people say. Go look at the filings. And I see my poor friends on YouTube falling for this guy's bullshit over and over and over. I tried to reach out to Frankie Muhammad and help him out, but he's got me blocked. The guy he was under the spell of Lou. Now he's under the spell of Ham. These guys that pump misinformation. Why do I call it misinformation? I mean, look up here on the top right. What does it say the float is? 18 million shares. Ham, even Frankie, thinking that it's 1 million because of the IPO. What they failed to do was look at the actual prospectus. Sure, the IPO was for 1 million shares. But the outstanding shares was much higher than that. And if you read the entire prospectus, at the bottom of it, there's another prospectus called a resale prospectus. And that has some key info in it that you need to know so you don't fall for this pumper clickbait misinformation. That's why I always tell you, go read the filings yourself. Don't believe these fools. There was another 6 million shares at least that the insiders were approved to sell when this thing launched, including at the market and shorting. There's 20 different ways listed that they could put their shares into the market, including shorting. And so for someone to say, I don't understand how one person bought the entire float of 1 million and they still shorted shares. Well, read the prospectus where it tells you insiders are approved to, including shorting, dump 6 million more shares. And then all of a sudden, everything makes very logical sense. We don't need to bemoan naked shorting and illegality when the filing tells you exactly what can happen. But for whatever reason, you know, if I point this stuff out, I'm the bad guy. There's only so much I can do, guys. That being said, it got low enough today that somebody came in and bought some and it jumped back up. So those things can happen. I'm not trying to talk anybody in or out of buying Tello. I don't really care. I'm not even in the play. But when someone says something outlandish, like one guy bought the entire float and I don't know why it dropped, that gets my curiosity going to go read the filing myself, and it took me about 5 minutes to see what potentially could have happened there. So make it a habit. I know it's a pain in the ass, but the more filings you read, the easier it becomes to pick this information out. And on that prospectus for Tello, at the very top, it says, hey, there's two prospectus here. There's the IPO and there's a resale prospectus. When you see that, I want you to not ignore that. And yeah, there's 50 pages of the prospectus for the IPO that you need to scan past. Go to the very bottom and look at the resale prospectus. That's an addendum of valid information that you need to read. Who's reselling? How many are they reselling? Are there any lockups? And what methods can they use to resell them? Because that is critical info for you to know. Turbo T5 says, is Lou still going? I haven't checked in on him. He's over talking to folks about XRP from the last time I looked over on his channel. And, maybe when we start talking about crypto more, I might see what he has to say, but we haven't been covering a lot of crypto stuff, so I don't watch what he has to say. Someone told me he had a $1,000 price target for XRP. I don't know if that's correct. Chris says, doesn't make sense why BMR would run up with only 1 or 2 halts. It all has to do, Chris, with the velocity of the run up. BMR. So, most of these, seems like there probably should have been one here, 23 up to 30. There probably should have been a halt right about here. Anytime you have that 10% run up in, in 5 minutes, that's when you get the halt. So what we like to see is a nice gentle run up. But remember, again, all of these, the halt conditions are programmed into the exchange. It's not a person flipping a button. So whenever a condition happens that they exceed the threshold, it's supposed to automatically kick in a halt, volatility halt. Jim says it was Robert Simpson who bought the entire float of Global Links. The other one that I don't remember about Global Links, but I remember the Piggly Wiggly story. I think the one guy tried to go buy the entire float of Piggly Wiggly. Y'all remember that one? And they still shorted it too. The other thing that happens is once you own it, once you own the entire float, and especially if you were paying for it on the way up, then what if there's no buyers? What if there's no buyers at a price you're willing to sell it at? And you got to sell it at a loss to dump it. Sometimes buying the whole float is not a great idea. What if no one else wants to buy it once you own it? You buy it, all that buying pressure makes the price go up. Unless you're really smart and do it, over time in batches. I'll check into Global Links. I don't know the whole story of that one. Michael says last week that GTN hit a bottom of 725 and has been rebounding. Earnings on February 23rd. All right, GTN. Gray Television. Not too familiar with this company. Flat total revenue the last couple quarters. Net income. They're kind of bouncing all around, I see. Negative 40 million, positive 4, negative 31, 186, 108, 99. So they had a history in 2021 and 2022 of some positive earnings. And then the last 3 quarters, it's been a little bit of trouble. What are we saying about GTN? Earnings on February 23rd. Looks like nothing stands in the way for it to go higher. Let's do one other thing. Just so we can kind of picture it. I know that's probably hard for you guys to see. So they do have, I see, going back all the way to 2013, a pretty solid history. You see all these bars here above the line, positive net income. And then the last 3 quarters, they have been struggling. So not knowing anything about the company and you making a very bold statement that there's nothing in the way of them. What did he say? Nothing in the way for it to go higher. I would want to understand, if I was you, why the last 3 quarters have been so weak compared to the last 5 years. And then if you still feel good about your answer after you're able to answer that to yourself, then go for it. But that's where I would start. What happened? What's going to be different on the upcoming quarter? And has management given any guidance in the last 3 months about what their expectations are? Michael says Tilo only traded 2 days. That is correct. Yep. My only comment on Tilo was it caught my interest, Michael, on Friday when people made very bold statements that one guy bought the entire float and they don't understand why it's going down, and that the float was 1 million shares. That was enough for me to spend 5 minutes out of curiosity to see if that statement could possibly be true. Because for someone to say that on a live stream and a space call is without any evidence is pretty bold. And maybe they're right. I don't know. But my curiosity led me to see pretty quickly, even though the IPO was for 1 million shares, the prospectus was for at least 7 million. I don't even know on Tilo why it's saying 18 million. If there was another update today. Normally, if there is an update to the float, there'll be a 8K or another filing where we'll get some update. Come on, man. We'll get some update and they'll disclose the updated share count. Oh, well, what do you know? We got an update today. Let's see what it says. Prospectus, another prospectus. So this is the prospectus for the 6 million shares that was in the resale, I'm presuming. And so, as I was mentioning, the S1 filed previously talked about the IPO. That's right. Sorry, you can't see this. They're talking about by separate prospectus, we have registered a million shares. And this one relates to the other 6.2 million. And let's look. We can usually go to description of capital stock. That's where you want to go on one of these prospectus to get a updated share count. It says our company is authorized 300 million shares. The total number of preferred stock is authorized is 100 million. Common stock. Normally here it tells you how many are actually issued in the float. These, by the way, right above this section, these are the insiders that are selling the 6 million shares. Selling stockholders. And that doesn't mean that they're dumping them all today, right? It just means that they can. $3.7 shares of common stock and 2.4 of common stock issuable upon the exercise of warrants. The other tool that I use besides Edgar is Dilution Tracker. And I posted this on Twitter too. If we look at TLO, they also have here the float at 7 million. Again, contradicting anybody who's on a YouTube channel or Twitter saying that it's 1 million. So we got our outstanding, we know that, insiders and others, but the actual free float, outstanding is 29 million, free float is 7.2. I don't know why Weeble is saying 18 million. Yes, on Friday it said nothing. It was just blank, which left everybody at the mercy of anybody putting out misinformation. Sufyan, what's up, buddy? Sufyan, one of our CPAs, he says, do you think goodwill will be uneventful in the financial statements? Man, Sufyan, you like putting me on the spot, don't you? I've agonized over this, Sufyan, as you know, for 3 months now. And I have some side bets with people, as you know. And I don't know for 100% that I'm going to be right. For AMC, is the goodwill going to be impacted in Q4? Because they do their annual goodwill test and the market cap of the stock has been run down. Are they going to have a goodwill impairment in Q4? I don't know. My research tells me they will not have a meaningful goodwill impact. But I'm not a CPA. And even the CPAs that I've talked to don't know for sure. So don't take that as gospel. But I believe in my DD enough to have made a side bet for a case of Celsius energy drinks. Matt, Tilo, I don't know that Ham was, yeah, he was pumping it. He was the one telling people that One person bought the entire float on Friday morning. Let's just call it what it is. He was pumping it. And then he was mad, saying he didn't understand how it could fall. It's obviously naked shorts. I'm like, God damn it, man. How can you say it's obviously naked shorts when there's a resale prospectus for another 6 million shares that clearly says these guys can short it into the market? Like, why does logic leave everybody's head instead of just reading? Let's just say whatever our narrative is. Everything's naked shorts. Whew, man, these guys. First, always look for a logical explanation. Then, if you can't find one, then start with your theories. But these guys start with the conspiracy stuff and never even bother to check for a logical explanation. That's what upsets me. Let's see if old Frankie still has me blocked. I tried to send him a comment last night. My good friend Frankie Muhammad. He is a good guy, but I just keep on seeing him listening to the wrong people. He made a video saying Tilo attacked by criminal short sellers. Yeah, my comment's not up on his page, so I guess he didn't like that I told him Ham was pumping Finger and GTII also for exit liquidity for insiders. So, all right, Frankie, I guess you're on your own. I've done my best to try and help, but the siren song of the Pied Piper seems to be more compelling to you than logic and reading filings. Done my best. Keep on calling me the bad guy. Keep on losing your money. Broke Ape says, anyone trade snow lately? It's been bullish for like the last week. Let's take a quick look. We got 6 minutes left on the day. You know what else was in our sites this morning that we haven't heard from for a while with the run-up? Wish. Context Logic. Remember Wish? It's up 40% today. And I haven't looked at the news. Why? I remember looking at Wish way back when, and I don't know that I care to go figure out why, but maybe I will when I get some free time later this afternoon. Snow. Yeah, that's a hell of a run. Up from 138 in November to 237 right now. Let's refresh on what they do. Snowflake is a cloud-based data platform for various organizations in the US and internationally. And let's look at their financials real quick and see if we can figure out why they're running, besides if there's any press release. So since November, I would expect to see a massive increase in earnings. And we see that revenue has been steadily climbing. That's what we want to see in any stock that we're playing, a nice solid upward chart like that. Operating income is negative, and net income is also negative. So that's, I don't like to see that. This already starting to tell me a story that people are either paying for some belief years out that this company is going to be phenomenal, or I already have a hard time figuring out why it's getting bid up 100%, because I'm not seeing anything here in the current numbers that's saying it's a screaming buy. Let's see what the analysts have. $200 average price target, low of 105, high of 250. And let's see what they're projecting for future earnings. Are we on snow? Yeah. So they're projecting 116 positive earnings. So yeah, that's what I was guessing, that if there is a belief that years out they're going to switch to positive and go up, which is what we see here, $1.16 positive in 2024, up to $7 by 2028. If you believe that, and if that ends up being the case, then it starts making sense why people might want to get in on snow. Although I'm much more picky, and I would wait for a pullback before, if I wanted to long-term hold this till 2028, I would wait for some bad news week in the market instead of overpaying this early. That's just my style, though. It may never pull back. I just hate buying run-ups. And the average analyst price target's $200. So I think it's a safe gamble that it'll come back down, but it could be a really interesting play. They've got to turn those numbers positive over the next couple years. So Maggie, I'm out of Palantir. Yes, I did buy Palantir. Let me pull up my chart here, show you my levels on Palantir. So I've been watching these Fibonacci's on Palantir. We've shared this from time to time on the channel with you guys. And as it went below this 38% retracement, I was buying it on this dip. And then I sold last week into this run up. I did not get anywhere near this maximum price, but that's okay. I got a profit. I was happy with. It shot through any previous high, and it's continuing up on that bullish momentum. And I will be looking for opportunities to buy it again, just like I do. I'll wait for things to cool off. I'm going to do a video on Palantir, though, because I need to ask myself, is it going to cool off? Or is it going to stay here and just go up from here? Those are the questions I start asking myself. All right, you took your profit. It's stayed up here for 3 days now. Time to spend half a day looking at all the latest management sentiment, analyst reports, financials, and decide from here. Do I expect to pull back, or do I expect it to level off here and then keep going? So when I do that work later this week, I will do an update on Palantir, but I am out at the moment. Maggie's still in. Beautiful run, Maggie. Beautiful. And I think you got in lower than me, right? You were in lower than $16. I just like you guys. I always have that little bit of regret. If I sold something at 19 or 20 and I see it go to 25, I'm like, damn it. That's a normal human reaction, but I don't get emotional over it, because there's been plenty of times I learned the hard way over the last 30 years where I held on to something too long and thinking that it was going to keep going up instead of taking some or all of my profits, and it just tanks. And then you start second guessing yourself. Well, maybe it'll turn around tomorrow and it tanks again. So I just have gotten in the habit. If I'm happy with a profit level, I take it. Then I let things chill out for a little while. And hey, if I missed it, I can wait a year. I can do more DD and see if I need to buy back in, or I can buy something else that is underpriced. That's how I look at it. There's thousands of stocks out there. Do I want to be in Palantir? Yes, but we'll do an update later this week, and then we can talk about it more. The viewer says, what criteria will tell you if it's going to cool down later? So the higher something goes, the more concerned I get about it. But there's also this, I don't know if it's a rule, but you often hear, if you read Investors Business Daily, or you're familiar with some of their rules, a lot of times the hot stocks like Maggie stay in them because they can keep going a long way. What I look at to answer that question really is, what is not only the investor sentiment, but then I fall back to looking at projected earnings. If I got to base it on some data, like if you're looking at a Palantir or an NVIDIA to figure out, could it keep running or is it overpriced? Whether you're going to play it or not, if you're just trying to figure out, can I be patient and wait for a pullback? I look at projected earnings. And if it's getting way out of whack with where it was on a price to earnings ratio with what the projected earnings are, then I feel pretty confident that it will come back down. And I can't tell you that answer for Palantir because I haven't looked at it in a month or two. And they've been running only the past week. So give me a day. When I do these things, it takes me hours. I can't just do that level of research in, even though I can give it to you in a 5-minute video, it's going to take me half a day to do the work. So I can't do that on a company that I'm not following every day. I could talk about an AMC or a GameStop or other stocks where I'm following them really closely every day. Palantir is not. I only check in on them typically once a quarter. And in the comments when we're done here, because we're about to wrap up, if you have stocks that you want or you think should be on an AI watch list, please leave them, not in the chat here, but when we finish up, drop them in the video comments, because we're going to start a watch list on AI stocks. And I need to, I'm covering some of the meme stocks. I'm covering some of the EV companies, but I want to start talking about some of these AI stocks too. And I know Rolf is interested in that as well. So I'll see if I can work with him on that also. Philip says, would love your opinion after you read the Wish PR. It's been a great short over the past year. Let me just see what it is real quick. A lot of press releases on Wish. So 12 hours ago, we got a attorney firm investigating whether the sale of the company is fair to shareholders. So apparently that's happening. They're being sold to, what is this company? QOO10. Context Logic announces agreement to sell substantially all operating assets and liabilities for $173 million cash. What's the market cap of Wish right now? $150 million. So they're driving the price up to, I mean, that's pretty typical. You'll see the price and the market cap near what the sale price of the company is. So I don't know. Now we got to ask ourselves, is this sale going to go through? I see a law firm is talking about, is it fair to shareholders? Well, I mean, I doubt anybody's complaining today. Up 40%. Mr. Halper Seda LLC. But yeah, there's some interesting things I need to read through here. I'd need to read what he has to say. So in context of selling the company for $173 million, that price run up makes a little more sense. And then remember what happened with Twitter, X, and Elon? There was that whole long period where they didn't know if the sale was going to go through or not. You can have some volatility until they lock it in. Steven says insiders dumped Palantir. All right, let's check that real quick, Steven. That is on our new rule of don't break this rule. If because we updated our rules. Based on what we saw happen with AMC, we updated our rules in 2021. Remember when all those insiders sold in that run up, and we kind of were like, well, you know, they deserve it. It's not a big deal. It's going to have another squeeze. And then it never did. Over the following year, I was like, I'm not going to make that mistake again to ignore insiders selling. It's always been my general rule not to ignore it. And Steven and I talk about this a lot, almost every day, whether it's AMC or other stocks, about looking at what insiders are doing. I am not giving any company a buy, BYE, a pass, if insiders are selling. I'm not doing it again. So let's see what we got. I'm seeing Steven. Okay. Now we need to pull up these sales and see if they were 10b5-1 sales, which is pre-planned sales, an automatic trading plan. It says transactions reported as part of a 10b5-1 will have an X in the column marking. Oh, I wonder if I still have my Fintel. Let me log in. You guys, I'll put this up on your screen in a second. Yeah, I'm going to need to pull the forms off of the Edgar site because I'm locked out. I did not renew my account. All these tools, each one of them cost me $75 a month. Dilution Tracker, Ortex, Fintel. I mean, it adds up to hundreds and hundreds of dollars. And so some of them that I wasn't using regularly, I cut. And Fintel was one of the first ones. Stock Analysis charges me. Ortex charges me. Dilution Tracker charges me. Fintel charges me. And thank you to those of you that are members of the channel, because, you know, your $5 helps pay for all of these hundreds and hundreds of dollars I spend to give you this information. And I do appreciate you that are members of the channel. If you're wondering where your $5 are going, it's going to pay for stuff like this, so I can give you information. And so each one of you don't have to pay for it. We just work as a team. Let's pull up Palantir. All right, let's just look at one of these. The CEO. No, he's not the CEO, is he? Cohen. Anyways, was his a 10B51? Yes, it was. And down here in the green footnotes, he sold them pursuant to a 10B51 trading plan. I give them a little bit of leeway, but then I start looking, all right, did all of them sell? Did they all say if it hits 20 bucks or 25, we want out? Because then I start asking myself, why do they think that that's as high as it's going to go? Why are they all dumping? He was out at 23.67. Yeah, I don't know that I would be ignoring that, kind of like what Steven's saying. There's a lot of insider sales here in the last couple days. Cohen, Karp, Taylor, Schiff, Moore. I think it's a valid thing to consider for yourself. That's all I'm going to say. Philip, thank you. Making the lights flash back there. Oops, on that. Philip says, thank you for adding a small bit of financial sanity to YouTube and X. Thank you, Philip. Steven says, don't ignore it. We don't need to know the reason, just pass. Well, Steven, I'll just remind you that I'm out now. And it was around that date that I got out. Maybe the day before. And yeah, for me, it's just as we have discussed, Steven, on Discord conversations, it's just going back to a hard rule for me. If I'm seeing insiders unloading, unless it's just a tiny, tiny amount, I'm probably going to give that some very heavy weight and consideration and either take some profits off the table or get out completely and then wait and see what happens. Maggie's asking, will I be back every day? And good luck to you if you're holding, Maggie. I'll try and get the Palantir deep dive done. It's not going to be today because we're going to a movie tonight. We're doing our pre-Valentine movie in Champaign this evening because she has to work on Valentine's Day. And she'll be tired when she gets home, so it'll be too late to go to a movie. But tomorrow, maybe tomorrow, we can do, in the middle of the day, the Palantir deep dive. I do want to know the answers to all these very good questions. Could it go up more? Is it going to pull back? What do all of these insider sales really mean? There's some great things to dig into here. What are the analysts saying? And so yeah, I'll dig into that. Will I be here every day? That is the intention. Yeah, that the intention is to get back to doing at least morning market open and market close live streams. And I got a couple more scheduled already, earnings reviews. At the end of this week, we'll be covering live the Cinemark earnings. That'll be our early look into what's going to happen with AMC and what questions the analysts are asking and what they're worried about. That gives us 12 days. 12 days to think about what could happen between the 16th and the 28th, based on what we hear in that call. That's some great intel, I think, to pay attention to what's happened with Cinemark. And then I have the AMC earnings call. That live stream is already scheduled with you guys too. Todd Rodriguez, thank you, friend. I finally figured out why my lights weren't blinking back there when I changed my it was either my Wi-Fi when I switched from Spectrum to Google. Something I had to reconnect the lights to the Wi-Fi. So Maggie, yeah, I unless something comes up, I should be back every day. That's the plan. And Broke Apes, there's the lights going for Todd. Broke Ape says, could you give me a quick go over on, is that a ticker, POWL? Uh, 12 days ago, they announced their 2024 results. Looks like. Is that the one you're talking about?
Thanks, Tony.
PAL Industries dividend will be increased to 26 cents. PAL Industries recorded a 136% EPS beat. Let's see what that stock's doing. Holy smokes. I mean, wow. 20 bucks in October of 2022 to 153 a year and a half later. That is fucking crazy. All right, let's see what's going on here. There has been some revenue increase from around 120 to 190 million. Let's look at earnings. That's really where the story's at right here. Look at that massive jump in earnings from 70 cents up to over $2, 2 quarters in a row. And what is the float on this stock? It's only 9 million. PE ratio 19. That's reasonable. Yeah, I mean, if they can keep that up, it would appear to me that it's fairly priced. Let's see what the analysts are saying. No analysts covering this stock. Last report from any analyst was June of 2022. All right, I'm going to leave this one up on my screen because I'm going to want to learn a little bit more about them. I know nothing about this company. Designs, develops, manufactures, sells, and services custom engineered equipment and systems. What a great business. What kind of equipment? Power control room substations, custom engineered models, electrical houses, medium voltage circuit breakers. Oh man, you design, manufacture, sell, and service that shit? That's like a cash printing machine if you're in the right industry. especially if you get to back end service all the stuff. Yeah, that's a good one to look into. Michael says last time Palantir reported earnings that went to 21.85 and fell back down to 16. Michael thinks it should drop right back down. Before we leave, let's just see. I think we looked at this morning, but I already forgot. Let's see what the general consensus is. I know a lot of you hate when analysts put forecasts out. I see it. I know you hate it because I've watched everybody over the last 2 years get angry when analysts share their thoughts on AMC and GameStop. But if I set those two aside, I can tell you that I use this on just about every other stock as part of my analysis. So I don't know why I wouldn't use what analysts say to give me an idea about what's going to happen with GameStop and AMC. I know people get very angry because the number that they give us is not what we want to hear, but they have been right, as much as I hate to admit it. Whether you want to say it was manipulation or the institutions shorted it because they knew it was overvalued and they felt free will to drive it down because very low risk for them to do that. They have more money than we do. I don't know. But I will say that I use this analyst forecast, especially if it's an analyst that specializes in that industry. I use this a lot to check my own DD, my own analysis. And so I just am curious, what are they saying about Palantir? And are there any recent updates? And yeah, we did look at this morning. There's 6 analysts, and their general average price target, if I add all these up, is roughly around $22. We got a low of 18 and a high of 30. Those are recent updates by 6 different people. So, I mean, there's a wide gap there, 18 to 30, but the average is around $22. And we're at 25, So, I mean, that kind of tells me maybe there's a pullback of a couple dollars, but maybe not all the way down to 16 again. I will know later this week when I do the half-day deep dive, and then we'll talk about it. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end it here because there are no real earnings after hours that I super care about today. Tomorrow, pre-market, I may come on a little early tomorrow before the market open to talk about all the earnings that are dropping in the morning. We have, again, if you weren't here in the morning for the market open, tomorrow we've got a big day. Pre-market, we've got Shopify, Coca-Cola, Biogen, Marriott, Hasbro, Moody's, and AutoNation. And after hours, we got Airbnb, Upstart, Robinhood, Lyft, MGM, and Zillow, and Instacart. I mean, there's a lot that'll give us an idea what's going on in the economy with some of these companies. So these are an important set of earnings, not only tomorrow, but most of the days this week. And so I may come on early, talk about some of these in the morning, and I'll very easily could see myself being interested enough to hang out with you an extra hour after market close tomorrow as these different results come in, and we can kind of see how they affect these stocks in the market in general. So go watch Dune 1, get ready for Dune 2, March 1st. Go watch Out of Darkness. I talked about those this morning. Put my little reviews up on Twitter and the community tab. We're going to go see tonight the Anyone But You Valentine's Encore. So that is the plans for this evening. There won't be any live stream this evening. I did do an update on my gardening channel, a video. If you're a gardener, you want to see another side of my life, another hobby of mine. It's Texas Organic Gardening. I put a link in my community tab for this channel. You can go straight to it from there. Drop me a sub, and I will be more diligent about posting on that channel as we get into spring planting. I got a lot of repair and prep projects I need to do in the next couple of weeks, so I'll be updating that channel with those. And yeah, so it's we got a lot on the plate. Yes, Anya. We're gonna have a herb garden for the rabbits, for my wife's rabbits, and there will be kale and lettuce for sure. She spends so much damn money, Anya, on those rabbits. The best damn fed rabbits in the States, I bet you. But the herbs especially, I mean, a little packet of fresh herbs is like $3, and she buys 6 or 7 packets every few days. I'm like, come on. We can grow herbs. They're not hard. And I like them for cooking too, especially oregano, basil, thyme. Cilantro grows really easy here. The rabbits love dill too. I have not tried growing dill here in Texas. When we lived in Nebraska, my mom used to make homemade dill pickles. And so I remember growing dill as a kid in Nebraska. I need to check and see if you can grow it in Texas. Maggie says she has 63 acres. I wish I had 63 acres, Maggie. I had 40, and I sold it when I left my corporate job. Should have never fucking done that. But it was not really, it wasn't pasture. It was a mountaintop, a fairly rocky terrain. And it was all wooded, heavily wooded on top of that. So wouldn't have been great gardening land. Michael says you didn't look at Jen. All right. When I saw you commenting about Jen, that's when I was suggesting you guys leave me a comment reminder. If there's some AI companies that you want me to add to my watch list. What is Jen AI? Jen Digital up 2.5%. Safety solutions. Okay. Real-time protection for PCs, Macs, and mobile devices against malware, viruses, and adware. What is that? Those cheesy commercials where that guy, the owner of the company, and that one lady are talking about the damn virus protection. We're in the USA. Looks like they announced a cash dividend of 12 cents, X date of February 15th. What else we got here? Lackluster guidance. Earnings and revenue miss. I mean, the headlines I'm seeing here are not super bullish, but I'll take a look at it. Even more importantly than, as you guys probably know, if you've been doing this for a while, even if earnings and revenue beat, if the company guidance is weak for the upcoming quarters or upcoming year, it can tank the price. And I don't know if that's what happened here, but I saw a headline that said something about weak guidance. So I would need to go in and read the earnings call transcript or find out what was said. So I can't comment more than that right now. David says, I love how you say basil and oregano. What do you guys say? You say basil? Oregano? Oh, man. Hello, Governor. Broke8 says, Palantir, I believe hype is over the government contracts in which of it doesn't fall through. I see Palantir back at 16 or less. If it falls through or if it doesn't fall through. But yeah, I mean, we all know, we've talked about this, especially with the Massalorian. He's very bullish on the government contracts with Palantir. And I have been seeing some headlines with Palantir lately. And yeah, I would like to own it over the long term. I'm not anti-Palantir. I just stepped out temporarily because I wanted to lock in some profits and see what happens next. So video upcoming this week, I promise. Dan Spencer, how do you say basil in the UK, Dan? You call it basil. Dan says he has a couple of acres, and Anya says, is that a joke? Dan posted, I saw in the Discord, Anya, Dan posted some photos of his place. If those were really his, it looked like he had a little spread there. Philip says their AI solution, Palantir's, is very sticky. Once they get in, you can't get them out, even if you want to. Well, that's good for Palantir's side, right? You want to have a software that is either so good to use or so hard to disengage from, or there's no compelling competition to jump to, that you're just stuck using it for better or worse. Hopefully for better. But that's good to know, Philip. He says he works with Palantir on the Army side. All right, so I owe you guys some DD this week on Palantir, and I will get to that. With that, I'm going to give you a hat tip, say thank you for all of you for coming back to the re-inaugural daily live streams. There'll be more of these to come. And, well, I already did my movie review on Anyone But One. Gentlemen, you got 2 days till Valentine's. It's your early warning. And Anyone But You is a great Valentine's movie. If you're looking for ideas, just saying. Or Egano, or Egarno, or Egano. Or that's how I call it oregano. I don't know if he's trying to tell me, Dan, that they call it oregano. That would be weird, Dan. Anyways, yeah, there'll be an herb garden along with all of our other tomatoes and carrots, potatoes, all that other good stuff. Thank you guys. Love you. We'll see you on the next one. Sorry, no live stream tonight. Movie time, but we will see you in the morning. I'll decide when I get home what time that's going to be and put up the thumbnail. And I'm pretty sure I'll come on 30 or 40 minutes before, maybe an hour before market opens, so we can look at all of the earnings that are happening pre-market tomorrow. If you're interested in that, come hang out pre-market. And if not, we'll see you when the market opens. Peace, love.